And its postseason field, so 14 teams in 2020. 79% of the teams to begin the season 2-0 have made the playoffs. That's a good sign for some teams, okay? Last season alone, 7 of the 9 teams that began the season 2-0 reached the playoffs, with another, the Seahawks, missing out by a tiebreaker.
Baker,
oh
I'll get Rag, I'll get Carson.
Dan, you make us want to root against people that we don't even want to root against him.
He won't admit when he's wrong.
I know.
I'm wrong all the time.
I looked in the camera and said, Baker, I apologize.
Yeah, you're a
You
big
are that guy now. I'm
You're
a
a
bigger
good
man
man
than
for
you.
that.
You are a bigger man than me, like 2 or 3 times.
Not that many times. This, by the way, we decided, I'm going to go ahead and say this on record. Swagoo needs a bigger chair in here.
Yeah, I'm
like,
sick of
this
this
chair
damn
is too small.
I tell y'all what now.
That chair is screaming
I
for
tell y'all
help.
what, if y'all want me to keep coming up here, you better give me a bigger chair.
I said,
am
get
not
him.
going to leave here with bruises on the side of my thighs. I'm telling you right now.
He got his hips
I
suffocated.
know y'all at home see how
No, you
uncomfortable.
can't. You got your
actually
jacket
not that
around
uncomfortable.
the chair. No, you're not. You fit in it, but it's just not the most comfortable. We're going to get you a throne. All right. Yeah. Look at it. Look at the angle. You really got bruises? Oh, okay. All right. Let's the Colts are off to their first 2-0 start since 2009. I can't stand you people. You make me laugh too much. They're snapping the second longest drought in the NFL. They've scored on 14 of their 17 offensive possessions this season. That 82% rate is the first by any team in their first 2 games over the last 45 years. That's how good they've been. They're also the first team in the Super Bowl era to go their first 2 games without punting. I mean, my goodness, like, do we expect this, a Daniel Jones team? If you were about to say that, I was going to call you out. What stood out, though, to you, Dan, about Daniel Jones and this Colts offense?
Trust. When I watched the tape for 2 weeks, I'm like, man, Shane Steichen really trusts Daniel Jones. And he's got Daniel Jones playing at an MVP level. He's got Daniel Jones playing at a level we've never seen before. This is really what's been his Achilles heel, under pressure, drifting away, taking shots in the chest. Ball's perfectly placed on a crosser, and then you're like, okay, there's a confidence there. He wants to throw this corner out. Daniel Jones is throwing this ball before Tyler Warren is open. There's a confidence from that play caller that is getting exuded into Daniel Jones. He has always struggled with pressure, and that's forced those turnovers and panic moments. Just a little drift off the backside. That shallow cross ends the game for them, and it results in a win. And this is the thing that stands out the most. Aggressive on early downs with him. 18 times they've thrown the ball on first down with Daniel Jones. 56% of those on play action. Second down, they've thrown it 13 times. So I'm just looking at it and going, when you, X's and O's, all that, whatever, you can just feel the tape say that coach trusts that quarterback, and I think they've got Daniel Jones playing at a level he never has. And they have Daniel Jones playing at an MVP caliber style of ball. They do.
And the run game is so dominant that the willingness to throw in those early downs, they're able to punish teams for overplaying the run. I keep getting asked, okay, is Daniel Jones going to come down to earth? Is this really Daniel Jones? And the truth is, I don't know if he can sustain what we've seen on big plays and under pressure. But I do know the accuracy on the short throws. He's completing 77% of his passes. That's sustainable because that's who he's been over the course of his entire career. It's something that was sorely missing with Anthony Richardson, who was the worst quarterback in the NFL on short passes in terms of completion percentage. And it's a big deal because, boy, they got some playmakers. You got a quarterback who's accurate underneath, and you got players like Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, who are able to pick up yards after the catch, who are mismatches against linebackers. Greater offenses have been built from less, So I think whatever happens with Daniel Jones moving forward, and I hope the big plays continue, that part to me feels incredibly sustainable and is very terrifying for a team like Denver, and I'm going to talk about this later, that was vulnerable in that exact area.
Yeah. Daniel Jones threw 34 passes, didn't turn the football over. And again, I think it's a further conversation we need to have one day, y'all, is the development of these quarterbacks, because there's a consistency in where they've been after they've left their teams and how they've progressed as quarterbacks. We've looked at Shane Steichen as a guy that can build and mold quarterbacks and development.
But then it didn't happen.
That's my point. That's my point, Dio. You take Anthony Richardson in the draft, can't develop him, But the difference with Daniel Jones is he's been in the wars. He's been in that situation of not being in a great situation at times, figuring that out, and also knowing what you don't need to do. Sometimes it's about what I don't do well and keep me away from that. So when you have coaches that are coaching from that prism, Baker went to McVay, all right? Sam Darnold went to O'Connell, and you got Daniel Jones now having success with Shane Steichen. There is a relativity to seeing these guys either underperform or be in the wrong situation, going to these guys that we hold in a very high regard for quarterback development and also resurrecting guys' careers, and they are coincidentally having success. I think there's a tie-in to that in some regard.
Totally, and I think it's also, for I feel 2 years, I've been waiting for where's the Shane Steichen creativity, magic, some of the play design. We haven't really seen it, and through 2 weeks, it's back.
It's back.
So it's this relationship where I trust you, and the way you're playing is allowing my great self as a play caller and play designer to come out once again.
And there has to be something from the evolution of being able to have these years of film on Daniel Jones, right?
Yeah.
My point is he's not blindly putting him in these situations.
Yeah.
Most rookies, and you've harped on this with Anthony Richardson, don't have a lot of reps.
Totally.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out.
He didn't have many coming out of college.
Exactly. So I'm trying to figure out who is this guy while trying to develop him.
Yeah.
There is to me a significant advantage that Daniel Jones had in the redevelopment of himself that Anthony Richardson had, because you are still learning as you go with Anthony Richardson.
I still find it fascinating. Mina makes the point. It's not dink and dunks, though.
No,
these are contested throws under duress, and he's placing that ball in premier locations. That's a different version of him.
And they also paid him
Different.
like he had an opportunity to play.
Which I think also indicates what they felt about Anthony Richardson.
100%.
I would just point out Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, some of these guys that we're still trying to figure out. Maybe a little patience is worthwhile.
Yeah.
It takes some time to succeed in this league as a quarterback.
Also, you got to give the Colts credit. Shane Steichen, and we were hard on them. And there was a lot of noise. Obviously, at least for now, they knew what they were doing.
All right, let's get to some top stories. The injury bug has unfortunately been making its way around the league. We're going to start in Minnesota, where Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy, another one of these quarterbacks that's still unproven in a lot of ways, he's expected now to be sidelined 2 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain after rolling his ankle late in the third quarter of Sunday night's game against the Falcons. Of course, an opportunity there for Carson Wentz now, so we'll see what that looks like. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels suffered a left knee injury last Thursday. He's currently listed as day-to-day, leaving his status for Sunday's game against the Las Vegas Raiders in doubt. If Daniels can't play, it'll be the first game of his career that he's missed. Pretty impressive. And the Bengals officially placing Joe Burrow on the injured reserve after suffering the turf toe injury in the first half of Sunday's game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Burrow will undergo toe surgery, which will sideline him at a minimum of 3 months. For more insight on Burrow's injury and what comes next, here's Stefania Bell using the latest virtual reality technology to tell us more.
Thanks, Laura. Well, if you're wondering what exactly is turf toe, you've come to the right place. And there's no better way than to show you. We're going to go inside the blue tent, and you're looking at a skeleton who is lying down. The bottom of his feet are facing you, and you'll see a little green structure highlighted here called the plantar plate. Hang on to that. We're going to come back to it. A turf toe injury is a hyperextension of the big toe. So it's where the first metatarsal, or the first bone of the forefoot, meets with the base of the big toe. And that is protected by ligaments, but most importantly by this fibrous tissue called the plantar plate. With hyperextension, if that tissue ruptures, then it becomes unstable and it needs to be surgically repaired. Let's take a look at the foot so you can get a picture of what a hyperextension injury looks like. Here's that first metatarsal, which points downward as the heel lifts off the ground. Here's the base of the big toe, which points upward if it is stuck or engaged with the turf, which, by the way, that's where the name originally comes from. See that gapping across the base of the joint? That is what stresses the plantar plate, and with enough force, that is what causes it to tear, and it needs to be surgically repaired. Now, in Joe Burrow's case, he's lucky because this happens to be injury to his left foot, not his right foot. And that means he doesn't have to push through that
you.